And we are recording. I would say we are live, but we're not. We are recording, people.
We're not.
We are here.
Edit this after the fact.
There is actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That's what I love to do. In case something happens, something goes wrong, like I can just quickly cut and edit what's going on. Welcome, Jess. We have Jess Hana, Jess The Maker. Am I pronouncing your name right? Is it Hana or is it Hana?
It's whatever you want. I pronounce it Hana, but but yeah.
We have Jess Hana on the podcast, everyone.
Thank you.
With Beka, who's also joining us today as our co-host. I'm really excited to have her on as well.
Hello.
And we're all in different time zones.
Oh, are we?
Yeah,
Jess, you're
we
Mountain
are.
Time, and I think Beka
Central.
is
She's
East Coast
Central.
time. She's up in
Central
East
time.
Coast. She's
Yes.
Central, and you West Coast problems. You just got to worry about yourself and California time.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know what?
On that West Coast time.
There's nothing wrong with West Coast time, people. Jess, thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm so excited to have you. You have been one of the biggest supporters of this network. I know I talked to you like a year ago about this.
Yes.
And every single time that I've reached out to you, you have made time to talk to me. You've sent me an email. You're absolutely amazing. And I really, really appreciate it so much. And I love what's happening with your website. Like, you just launched it. Tell us about your website a little bit. I was looking at it today. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's really, really cool stuff.
So
it's so good.
Thank you. Well, one, thank you for having me. When you mentioned, Mia, last year that you were wanting to put together Women's Mountain Bike Network and just what you wanted to do in terms of bringing people together and bring more visibility to women in mountain biking, whether it's coaches or business owners or whatever it may be. I think that that's just awesome. And I think that we needed this. So I'm happy that you reached out. And when you asked me to be on this podcast, I was like, heck yeah. Am I allowed to curse on here? Hell yeah.
Yes, you can cuss on here. We cuss all the time.
You can edit.
Yes.
Cool.
If it's up to me, if it's up to me, it's a hard yes, but that's
it's a hard hell yes. So yeah, my website, it's funny, but before I ventured into the realm of content creation, I actually did design work, web design and graphic design. That's what I went to school for. Yes. And funny enough, and I used to build like websites from scratch. I used a lot of I would actually use a lot of like WordPress and things like that. But I just was like, you know what? I'm buying a Squarespace site and I'm just like going hard on the Squarespace. Like, I was just like,
nice.
I don't have time to, one of those, like, just ship it, right? Sometimes we can get really focused on, especially if it's like something we know we could do. And spend a lot of time doing, but the most important thing is just getting it live, it's never going to be perfect. I think at one point I was just like, you know what? I just have to launch this. It's really, really hard to write about yourself. It's like, very weird. So I try to keep it really succinct and, simple and to the point and not, put too much stuff on there, but thank you very much. I do appreciate it. My lovely friend, Hillary, Lex, is a phenomenal photographer, and she took all of those amazing photos. And when you have a friend who's a photographer, it's just a lot easier to be natural and let like the weird goofy stuff come out. So there's a ton of those in like the gallery she sent along. So,
the front page, Jess, is just hilarious. I'm going to see if actually I can share this. So for people who are watching, let's see if we could share this tab real quick and just show the people what they want to see, which is Jess's photo.
Yes.
So this is amazing. You guys can see the screen, right?
I see it.
This is amazing. But my favorite photo is the one where you talk about your gear. This one.
Oh, I love
this one's just
there
awesome.
it is. There it is.
I love it.
My one of my best friends screenshotted the top of that and sends it to me, and she's like, "Yep, this is about right." I think that's one of those things, right? It's like when you something feels authentic to you. It's authentic when like even your best friends are like, yep,
yes,
that's who you are.
And I think I think that's so good because I think all of us who follow you and love what you do, your content, we come to know this funny, smart humor that you've come to create, you know, like it really is like, it's so relatable. And I want to dive down and delve in. I don't
both. You could say delve and
deep dive
and dive and all the things. Deep dive.
Yeah. There, thank you, Beka. But Beka knows like English is my second language, so I always
she says this every recording.
I'm always like,
yeah.
Oh, man, me too. I mean, my mom is from South Korea. She immigrated here when she was pregnant with me. So I tell people a lot that I was made in Korea, born in the USA. And my mom, my mom was learning English when she came here. So I didn't really learn a whole lot of Korean, but when my mom would speak to me, you know, I actually had an accent as a kid. Like I had we have our own dialect. Even when I talk to my mom on the phone, I'll revert. So I can imitate my mom really, really well. But that's because that's how I used to talk as a kid. Great. And still like the grammar will still come out interesting. Like, and I have to, it'll still come out every now and then, and I'll catch myself and be like, oh my God. You know, but yeah, I had to go to speech therapy when I was younger.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I mean,
I still have to correct Mia all the time. I yell at her. I'll like send her a text. I'm like, you spelled this wrong on the website, or you did. English is my second language. Yep.
But you know what? In Australian or in the Queen's English, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time now saying the King's English because now it's a king. We put U's in everything and T's in everything. So I'll say learnt instead of learned.
Interesting.
And like I feel like always has a U, neighbor always has a U.
Learnt sounds much more West Virginian than it does Australian, like to me.
Yes.
I don't know. When I say I learned
Interesting.
I seen it.
Learnt.
I learned it.
I seen it.
So I seen it. So you can say that's, you know,
I seen it.
You know, but that's the thing. Like the British colonized all around there first. Virginia was the first colony. So and a little bit of history. I'm going to bore all of you right now.
No, do it. Let's do it.
People are probably going to correct me, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. That Virginia was named after Queen Elizabeth I because she was the Virgin Queen, and that's when the U.S. were colonizing over here.
Well,
I don't really like
We'll see if anyone's going to correct me on there. Let's see if I learned that in history class. At least that's how I remember it from history class.
If anyone corrects you, I feel, you know, they're like, well, actually. Someone's Googling right now.
We've all learned something today, so we've got that going for us.
We did. Yes,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So, Jess, your website. I love your favorite gears that you have on here, by the way. And I wanted to tell you that I tried those Smith Optics, the Bobcats.
The Bobcats?
They do
not for you.
Good on my little face.
Oh, you have a little face.
No. I have a round face. So, like, I tried it on this weekend. They go up. I don't know about you, Beka. I don't know if you've tried those sunglasses.
No, I haven't. So they're more like trail goggle kind of thing, trail glasses.
Yeah, it's like they're like trail glasses that are like almost goggle size. Like they're huge, you know.
Gotcha. No, those are good though because that's what I need because I get
website because I think you
have flying debris in my face on the trails all the time. So it's important, you know.
People do
these right here.
Yes. People do ask me about those all the time. And that was actually one of the questions someone had was like, what are those glasses you wear? And I wear the Smith Bobcats. But Tony, my fiance, just got a pair of the Smith Wildcats. And those are even bigger. But I like those too. Yeah. I like
I'm going to look into
big old, you know.
Yeah. That's what my wife has. She has those Wildcats. Suits her face.
She likes this.
I mean, I bought them. I have to buy her all the things because she typically doesn't want to buy herself things. So she's
I want all the bike things. I want all the bike things.
Yeah. Same. Is that Cash behind you?
It's Cooper. You can see him.
Oh, little Cooper.
He has a cone.
Why does he have a cone?
Oh, a cone of shame.
He,
I see you.
And we put like a mini pipe soft thing around the edge because when Cooper runs into your shins with that thing, it hurts so bad.
It does.
He's picking at a hot spot again.
Aww.
So he's
poor
poor
dude.
Poor guy.
He's just chilling. Yeah, he's just
Yeah,
chilling.
I don't know if you guys could see, but I changed the focus to be on Jess. Can you guys see that when I changed that on the screen?
Oh,
I was
no,
highlighting you. Oh, okay. Well,
I just see three of us together.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that works. That works too. All right. So we got some really cool questions for you. I want to go into a bunch of stuff, but there are some questions here that we got for you. And one of these came from James at Thunder Mountain Bikes in Sedona. I'm not sure if you know James.
I don't know if I know James, but I know Thunder Mountain bicycles and they're rad.
Yeah. He built a custom Rascal. It's got all of like the
maybe I do know. Maybe I do
rainbow stuff. Yeah. I think if you see his bike, you would know who
Probably.
it is.
I know people buy their bikes.
Custom bikes, man. Yeah, that's usually how
like
I am
that. We're
too.
texting each other like,
yeah.
Exactly.
Check out that bike. You've seen this bike?
Do you know this person? She'll throw out a name. I'm like, I don't know. What does she ride? Maybe.
Yes, exactly. Love that.
That's always how it is. So Jane asks, if owning a Revel is worth the contact paper on your countertops.
Yeah. I mean, we still have contact paper countertops. Spoiler alert, we actually bought some new contact paper to redo it for when our family comes for the holidays.
Fancy contact paper.
We spent the $9.
Upgrade.
We're going a little bit of like it's a different kind of marble, fake marble look. Totally worth it. And it's funny, I made that video earlier this year. We're still in 2022. It's weird. I feel like it's much longer than that ago, but I made that video originally back in February. But that Revel, like, I've had my Rascal now since 2018. So I mean, it's been a long time. I've been riding that bike for almost 4 years. Yeah. So and I think you know about other Randy. Do you both know about Randy?
No, I don't think
Randy is your Rascal that you have now.
Yes. And then now I have Randy with an I.
Oh.
And it's also
Randy.
a Rascal.
Oh.
Yeah. So the good folks at Revel, as a thank you, sent me a frame. So I built up a new Randy. Well, they also were like, "You're still riding that?" I feel like 4 years for a bike is like old. Like it should be retired. They're like, they felt bad. They were like, "Here."
Don't talk about our brand unless it's going to be new. Come on, just do this.
I know. Because first Randy the First is
Randy the First,
the 24th bike they ever made.
Wow.
Yes.
That's really cool.
That's special, dude.
Yes,
that's really special.
Randy is a special guy. And then now I have Randy with an I, also Rascal purple, so a different color.
Nice.
And I'm spelling with an I because this Randy identifies as a female. So
nice.
Nice. I love that, by the way. Randy the first, Randy the second. Are you going to use the same components, or are you just gonna like build it as a different bike?
So it was debated. I actually posted this a while back in a story, like, if you put the old components from your previous frame onto a new frame, is it a new bike? Here, I'll ask you both that. What do you both think about that?
That's a great question.
I say yes because I did basically a variation of that for my current party bike. So I did some of that, and it feels, because it's the whole picture of what it means for me to have a new bike. So this was like, okay, this is the culmination of how it made sense for me. So I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say it depends.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're not going to answer. So it's...
What do I do for a living? I tell people it depends every single day on a daily basis.
It depends.
That's the joke in law school. You ask the professor a question and they say, well, it depends. Because what are the facts? That's exactly what every lawyer says. It's like, well, it depends.
Right.
There's never a black and white answer.
This is opinion. This is opinion, though. This isn't fact.
So
this is true. This is opinion.
I'm going to say, yes, it is a new bike because it's new to you. It's a new frame and you're using it in a different capacity. I don't know. Now I'm just making stuff up as I go.
You know, I have a hard time. So here's what I think. Also, I know how much I've used all the other components of this bike, of old Randy. And let me just say, like, I used the crap out of this bike. I wrapped the frame when I first got it. Like, I wrapped old Randy, like, as soon as I got it because, well, no, I didn't wrap it as soon as I got it. I didn't wrap it. And what happened is I like hit a rock and it like smashed into the like rear triangle. And I was like, great. So then I wrapped him and I was like, okay, I feel a little bit better about that. But like the crank arm, it's just like everything is very heavily used. I think there'd be certain components and certain things I would transfer to new Randy. Like, I love my Envy wheels. They're awesome.
Yes, I was going to ask you about those because I'm
I think
wheels, if I should get the Revel wheels.
I think wheels is a good transferable thing, assuming that they're intact and they're not whatever. But wheels are kind of like that'll carry you for a while, literally. But I think things like suspension, you know, that you're going to beat up. So that makes sense that you would want to replace that for sure.
So, but just spoiler alert, I put all new components on new.
Heck yeah, man.
So, you know, and I'm running, there's a company that's based, there's a company that's based out of both Brazil and here in Bentonville called Session Components. And Joao is my friend from Session, and I work with them a little bit, and they are one of my product sponsors. So they gave me some wheels. And so I'm really, really stoked to ride them. They're carbon wheel set. I mean, I'm like, the engagement feels really good too. Like the hub that came with it. It's not like my previous, on other Randy, I run i9 Hydras. And so I'm pretty picky about all that, but I feel really good about the session wheels. I'm really excited. So
that's really cool. I'd love to connect with Joelle, who you're talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
But also the Hydras, that's what the Revel. So Revel came on as a supporter of the network, and I'm super excited.
That's awesome.
Like, I met up with Addie during Rome, and I had a great time with them at Rome. And Addie is just amazing. She's really cool.
Very cool.
So they have the Hydra hubs, the i9 Hydra hubs, and I was telling Beka, I'm like, do I get these or do I get these? Like, I'm so torn, you know? And I'm
no, what you asked me is, should you get a purse or should you get wheels? And I said, this is not a conversation.
Definitely wheels.
It's not even a conversation.
Well, I was also looking at the Envies. I was also looking at the Envy wheels because my bike shop is awesome and they're a supporter of the network and they are amazing. And so I wasn't sure, great. Like, do you run carbon wheels on your Envy wheels? Are they carbon or are they alloy?
Yes, they're carbon. And it was, so when Revel first started, they didn't have their own wheels yet. And so I think that was what came stock, was the Envy wheels.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So they everything that came on it was a really great build. And it was what I think is also cool is that the next Sedona Mountain Bike Fest, I learned about them at a Sedona Mountain Bike Fest. They launched I think 2018, and I was there and I was actually demoing. I was really interested in the Evil Bikes line, and I was like, I want to try all the Evil Bikes. And I did. And I was like, you know, it didn't fit me, you know.
You weren't impressed.
I wasn't impressed. They're great bikes, but I wasn't like, something was off. I was just like, didn't fit me. And so then I saw people riding around on these bikes I've never seen. And I was like, what are those? And then turns out it was Revel had launched at that festival. And so I got in touch with them and I was like, hey, and it's funny, I actually didn't demo a bike then because they were all out. Like, you've been to Sedona Mountain Bike Fest, both of you, or have you?
I haven't. We're trying to go in.
Oh,
no, we're trying to go in March. We're trying to go in March.
We're meeting up. Yep. Let's do it.
That was actually going to be one of my questions for you if you're going to go to the Mountain Bike Festival this year.
I'm planning on it. Yeah, I'm planning on it. Because I had gone for a few years in a row, and actually 2020 was my last one. Like the year COVID started, that was like ground zero basically at that point for a lot of us. Like we were like spreading it around. And anyway, I haven't been back since then, so I would love to get back there. But yeah, I demoed. Actually, was like, we actually went to the Hurricane Mountain Bike Festival or whatever it's called right after that, right after Sedona, because we knew Revel was going to be there, and I was like, I'm gonna demo one. And I did, and I was like, this is my bike.
That's awesome.
Then, so I ordered one. They shipped it. I actually met, I don't think he works for Revel anymore, but I think his name is Jeremiah, but I actually got to meet him the following year. And I had my bike. Cool. He's like, I remember that. I built that one up. And I was like, that's really cool that I got to
that's really
meet the guy who built up my bike.
That's awesome.
Cool. You know? That's really cool. I mean, I had a similar experience with my Rascal that I was looking for a bike, the same type of thing. And then I went to World Wide Cyclery, and they were just up here for me. They're like 10 minutes from me.
Oh, yeah.
And they had one, and I'd been demoing different bikes, and I sat on it, and I was like, this is my bike. Like the suspension on that thing.
You just know.
It's very different. The suspension is very different. I was telling Beka, like, she needs to demo one of these bikes too.
Yes.
I want to. I definitely want to.
It's going to be game over. She's going to demo one. It's going to be game over.
Everything. I know.
And so Molly, she doesn't work for them anymore. But she's not specialized. She sold me the bike. And then I got to meet up with her this summer. She coached me. She's with Ammo at the Sedona Mountain Bike Academy.
Molly. Yeah. She lives in Flagstaff.
That's awesome.
I remember people by where they live. I'm like, Flagstaff. She's a great human. For sure.
And she's an amazing human. And I got to finally meet her that summer, and she was my coach. She's my coach for life now. Like, she's my coach for life.
Nice. She's a good coach for life, for sure.
She took cactus needles out of my butt. I think that's actually.
That's a level of closeness that is super duper special.
So our friendship leveled up.
You just leveled up, extreme level up. That's awesome.
And it's funny because she's here. She's in Southern California. She's staying like 20 minutes away from me. Tomorrow I'm going to go have dinner with her. We're going to catch up and hang out. So I think it's so cool how in the business we have that. We build our bikes, we meet new people, and like the people that recommend it. I think that's really, really cool.
That is rad.
The bike industry is like the best, smallest world. It's so great having, I don't know, it's everyone always kind of knows someone that knows somebody, and it's just so great. Like just hearing how that connection travels through the whole industry.
Small world.
I love it. Small 100%. World. And the support like that we've gotten from so many women has been outstanding. We had, Beka wasn't a part of this one. She will be a part of the podcast from now on. But I had Lindsay on a few weeks ago, and she was amazing.
Yes, is that Lindsay live
right
somewhere?
there?
I'll need to listen to that one.
No, I haven't released it yet. I'm a little shy with doing the live ones. We haven't really done them live yet.
We haven't ventured into it yet, but we will. We will.
Yeah, I think we will. Beka's amazing. She's like my number one everything. Like every time I need something, I'm like, Beka, what do you think? She's been so good.
That's rad.
Sounds good. I'm here for it.
Let's go to another question that we had here.
Sure.
So James asked that question about your countertops, which is awesome.
Thanks, James.
You had a couple questions about pedals from two different people. Someone had asked you, Joseph Does Everything, that's his handle, asked you what your favorite clipless pedals are and why. And then there was someone else who had asked you about magnetic pedals. So you can answer each one of them separately or together.
I've seen those.
And, we had Britt, who's one of our contributors. She did a review on those metal pedals, magnetic pedals, I guess you call them. So tell us, Jess. What are your favorite clipless pedals and why?
I also want to know what your favorite platforms are too, though. I want to know what your favorite platform. We're going to talk about pedals. Yes. I want to hear all the sides of it for sure.
Let's do a pedal segment right now.
Perfect. I just had my hot chalky delivery.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Tony,
she had hot chocolate. My wife refilled my whiskey.
Nice.
The best.
That's a way to.
Okay, so pedals, where do I start? So one, I'll say, so when I first started mountain biking, I rode clipless because I thought that's what everyone else did. So I was like, all right.
Yeah, that was also the standard that I achieved too when I was new. Also, I was like, okay, this is going to make me legitimate. As long as I can ride
this is legit
with my feet clipped in here,
I need to be
then I'm going to be pedals. A real mountain biker. Yes,
that's funny.
And you know, like I think you both know, like back 10 years ago, there weren't nearly, if not any, that I can think of, women's specific clothing brands or things like that. Like the different brands did carry it's carried women's stuff, but it wasn't.
Yeah, Skorts we actually learned about. We're going to discuss that.
Skorts.
We're going to discuss that in the future, but we learned that Fox used to make a women's skort to ride bicycles in. And I'm going to do research on this. Anyway,
I need to get me a vintage pair of those just for.
Oh, dude, I'm going to ride in it. I'm going to ride in a skort, and there's going to be videos of it. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Jess, I think you need to do a reel on a skort. I'm just putting that out there. I'm not creative by any means, but okay, sorry, keep going. So
the wheels are turning. Yeah, clipless pedals. So I started on clipless pedals. I think at the time I just rode SPDs, and I had a pair of I had like a pair of Specialized shoes that I think were like on sale at the bike shop that I was like, these fit me okay.
Yeah, same, man. I get it.
That's what I rode. That's what I rode, and it was great. Then fast forward, I think almost 3 years. Like for 3 years, I rode clipless pedals. And a lot of my accidents and things that would happen as a beginner rider were, I'd say 80% due to the fact I couldn't unclip fast enough. Like, those like slow motion falls where you're just like, and you're like, oh, I don't know. And this is before I had a track stand or anything. So I just was like, I'm stuck to bike. Oh no. And then I would just like fall over. Those are always the best. Actually, one of my favorite times with the clip. I don't mean to bash clipless, and I really don't have anything against clipless or flats or whatever. I have a preference, but I see the benefit of both. I see the downsides of both as well. But anyway, I'll never forget, I was on this group ride and I learned on the East Coast. So I lived in central New York for a while, like in Ithaca. And a lot of my ride friends were there. And if you're, East Coast, Rudy.
Yeah. Beka would know.
Slippery,
Yeah. Very. Yep. I'm in Eastern PA. So yep.
Oh, that's where I'm from, right?
Eastern
PA. I was waiting for that.
No.
Yeah. I grew up in the Poconos.
Shut up. I'm in Lehigh Valley. That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. My best friend lives in Easton.
Welcome.
So,
I'm in Kutztown.
Anyway.
I'm in Kutztown. Okay, carry on.
PA.
That's so good.
That's amazing.
Also,
full circle.
Yes. Just want to say that Pennsylvania is the only state in all of the 50 states that will go by its acronym, by the way. There are no other states.
I've been discussing that. We're just PA. That's it. Yes.
It's just PA.
I can't comment. I'm a transplant.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's just interesting, Sorry, I've diverged from what I was talking about. So
clipless pedals.
Clipless pedals. I remember this one instance where I was riding with a group of friends, and we had stopped and to take a break, let everyone kind of regroup. And my rear wheel was on like a slippery route. And so when I clipped back into my pedal to start going, my rear wheel just like spun out, and it was one of those slow move falls. And it's the whole group is there. Like the whole group is just
everyone's
like waiting.
Watching.
And I clip in.
Yeah.
Everyone's watching. I slow motion fall, and I'm like, oh no. And then the handlebar, this is terrible. I don't even want to say it, but the handlebar, I like hit my mouth.
Oh, and you poor thing.
I bit, and I was like bleeding like all over. So the rest of the ride, I rode, and I like blood dripping down my face.
Oh no, you poor thing.
Yeah,
it's an epic battle scar, man.
Anyway,
it
can you imagine coming up on a hiker though, coming up on a hiker with like a bloody mouth and be like,
just blood. They're really selling mountain biking. Get into it. It's fun.
Get a bike, man. It's great.
Get a bike.
That'd be funny.
So I don't remember the exact time when I switched to flats. In fact, it might have been at some point when, my history with Ladies All Ride and Lindsay Richter, it's kind of an interesting story, and I digress.
Yeah,
I'm going to come back to this.
But this is why. This is why you switched to clipless, to flats.
To flats.
Right.
So in preparation for the Ladies All Ride that I was going to, which I can explain later, remind me to come back to this of why I even went, because it's a whole
Ladies
other story.
All Ride.
The whole reason I switched to flats is because they were like, if you're coming, we recommend being on flats when we're learning new things. And so I did. And then I was like, why haven't I done this before? You know what I mean? Like I was like it was like a light bulb moment. I was like, it made it a lot easier to try new things and be able to put my foot down. I mean, coming from Pennsylvania and then central New York, rock gardens, they're a thing. And I wouldn't really commit to trying it because I was too afraid that I wouldn't be able to unclip fast enough or whatever.
Yeah.
And so flats made it a little bit easier to get through the mental part of it. And then if I needed to put a foot down or whatever. So, so I switched to flats at that point. I'm a long
you never looked back.
Well, I never looked back, but I will say I've been wanting to get back to clipping in.
Ooh,
because
okay.
Yes, because as I do more air maneuvers like drops and jumps, having your feet in the right place is pretty good, is an important thing.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of confidence with that, because when you're on flats and you do something, you hit something or whatever, and you're on the wrong spot, there's no moving that. So once you're, I mean, you're not locked in, but like if you're going into another whatever and your foot's in the wrong spot,
yep.
I can 100% relate to that.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. On what Becca's saying, that's something that I used to ride clipless, but then I wanted to ride in Sedona. And so then I was like, no, I need to go to flats because I can't ride Sedona clipless, because my wife rides Sedona clipless, but she's a very good technical rider, like climber and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to Agnes and she's like, Mia, you have to commit. Either you go clipless or you go flats. You can't do both.
Yeah.
Because I was doing the double-sided pedals.
Oh,
and she's like,
interesting.
Because I found some double-sided pedals where because I had the Ride Concepts clipped pedals, the clipless. I think Beka knows the ones I'm talking about, the Wildcats. And they wouldn't slip in this reverse pedal, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
But then in talking to Agnes, she's like, no, Mia, you need to commit. Either you're going full flats or
one or the other. I can see that too, though. You need dedicated pedals for which way you're going to go for it. But before my knee injury, I was really considering going back to riding clipless with downhill, because that has been returning more so. And I know that all the pro racers do it, but more people that I've known are like, oh, I ride clipless and that. And I wanted to try it on maybe more of the trails that I knew well and I could anticipate what was coming. But now I think I'm just going to wear flats for a bit. I think I'm just going to wear flats.
So wait, Jess, you want to go back to clipless because you wanted to do like these jumps? Like, is that the reason why?
So I can do drops and jumps with my flats. There have been moments recently, and this could be due to just the kind of pedals that I'm on right now, but the flats that I'm on. But I've noticed there are times where, like you were saying, Beka, like if I get set up to do something, if my foot's not in the right spot, it's kind of hard to get it back to where you want. And then you're like, so the benefit of clipless is, once you clip in, you're like, my foot is in the place I want it to be. Right. And so there's just a little bit there. I'm not really worried so much about, I think a lot of people have a fear of their feet coming off the pedals, which valid fear. No, totally valid fear when you're doing
it happens to me all the time.
Okay. Well, we could talk about that.
That's why I'm scared to do sometimes, like why I keep going back and forth, because I just even at Rome I did features I hadn't done before, and like I was bouncing up and down, and my pedal just came up a little bit. And I have those Stamp 7s, those Crank Brothers,
the Stamp ones are supposed,
which will leave like a pretty decent mark if they hit your shit.
Oh yeah.
And I even sent Beka this video of me, and I'm going down, and my wife's at the bottom, and she's like, "That was a little sketchy."
That was sketchy. So,
but if I had clipless, I wouldn't have had that. You know what I mean? Like, I think I would have felt a little bit more confident. So I think it's a mind game too. It could be
a mind game. There's also the concept of pressure. I can go into coach mind right now if you would like.
Let's do it.
All right.
Coach Jess, let's do
maybe
it.
This will help other people too. If your feet are flying off the pedals, right? Like,
I think that's a common thing that happens. So definitely. Yeah.
Yes. Have either of you heard of bowl theory?
No.
Are we talking about the shape of the pedal?
Well, no. Okay. Yeah. So there's the concave, the convex, right? Like, pedals, but I'm talking about, like, imagine a bowl. Whatever, it's just a bowl.
Yeah.
If I told you you couldn't lift up the bowl from the outside, how would you lift up the bowl?
From the bottom? Like you'd like step in
pressure
it?
Pressure with the inside.
Pressure, like I would put my hands on the inside and push out and lift it up, right? So this I can do with my wine glass. Okay. So the next time you're riding, I want you to think about your pedals, right? So if you have your pedals, like this way, drop whatever foot you have in the front, drop your heel a little, and whatever foot you have in the rear,
drop it. Yeah.
You're creating pressure front and back, and it's going to keep your feet on the pedals.
Yes. See, Molly taught me that, because Molly's amazing.
And then did you forget?
The problem with
which happens to me all the time. People say it and I'm like,
is that I don't practice enough of what I was taught. So it's not on her. And like, I tell people, I think I told you this, when I had my first lesson with her, it was amazing because I went out and the confidence I got and the things that she taught me, I applied right away, and it was really good. But, no, I'm like breaking things over here. But she taught me that the whole point, so that your feet don't typically fly off. It's just, you have to practice it over and over again. I think that's
a good visual. That's a good visual for it.
It's a
like
great
that
visual,
with the bowl theory, because I've heard it like keep your foot in like a wedge. I've heard that, and then
a wedge.
But I think thinking about it in that way of really helps to visualize that point of contact of so maybe practicing it down a trail, you know what to anticipate. So you've done this trail before, you kind of know what's up ahead, and then thinking that whole way down, okay, am I maintaining that contact? I think that's a great exercise to do for sure.
100%. 100%.
So we digress. We're talking about pedals, but we're still there. We're still talking about pedals.
So I guess circling back, what is your favorite clipless pedals?
Circling back.
Okay, so I don't have a favorite clipless. I mean, like, I literally have only tried the SPDs, but I've heard the Crank Brothers pedals are really nice.
If I was going to get something, that's what I would get. I think I would go with the Crank Brothers.
Same. They look like they have a good,
Tell me how you feel, because the guy I ride with all the time, my buddy Kyle, he didn't like the Crank Brother. He felt it was too loose.
But you can adjust them on
the SPDs.
You can adjust you can't adjust them as well?
I think you can.
Not according to him. I have not tested this. Disclaimer. But according to him, the Crank Brothers, like the egg beater that they have on there, you can't really adjust them like you can the SPDs.
SPDs,
Oh, okay.
I mean, test them out, Jess, and tell us how it is.
Yeah, I think I will test them out. And someone did ask about the magnet pedals.
Yes, the mag pad.
And I haven't used the brand. I think there's two that I know of, and one is like MagPed, and then the other is Hustle Labs. And I've only tried the Hustle Labs, and they're very cool. They're very strong magnets. Like literally,
really?
I think my earring fell out and it landed on the pedal, and I was like, whoa! Like they're awesome. So strong. And I actually would say the thing that would be a little bit of an issue is if, like, I have some knee issues, and like the strength of the magnet. I think I need to find a better way to like detach, because
are you used to kind of doing like the outward, like kind of
like
motion,
a twist,
like
right?
Mm-hmm.
But the magnet, I feel like you kind of have to take your foot and go like kind of unhinge it like that, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
I haven't also ridden them enough to like give really good feedback. You know why? Everyone, like, there's so many friends here that are like, can I try those pedals? Can I try those pedals? Other people have them. Like, I think I rode them like twice, and other people were like, can I try them? They're like the sisterhood of the traveling pedal. They're like going around, and I'm never going to get them back. Like, I'm just like, cool. I don't know who has them now.
They are really novel. Like, it is a really interesting approach to it. So yes. I can see that. I can 100% being like, ooh, I'm going to try those.
But I am going to say, go to our website, because that was the first review ever from amazing Brit. She did that review for us with the Women's MTB Network, but you did the MagPed. And she did talk about that in her little video, how you have to kind of like,
it's a different
lift your
motion.
Foot off. So it's a different like muscle memory you have to learn.
It is.
If you're a rider that you've rode clipless for 10 or even like a year, you've just been practicing,
that motion
that way.
That way. You just like twist the heel off, and it's different. What I do love about the pedal now that I'm thinking about it, is that the platform, so the location of the magnet and the fact that the actual pedal platform feels like a flat, I like.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I do like that a lot. Yes.
That's
and you
cool.
can, at least with Hustle Labs, I don't know how MagPed is, but with Hustle, they have the pins just like you would a flat pedal.
Nice.
And so it could really feel like you're on
authentic.
You know, and I like having a big platform. And
me too.
Beka, you had asked like what pedals I like to ride now, and I have a few favorites. Chromag contacts. Been riding them for years. Love them.
I've heard great things about them.
Chromag. Okay.
Yeah. The Canfield Krampus, I think they're called.
Oh, okay.
Crampon. Or they're called Crampon. I said Krampus. That's the Christmas spirit. That's that terrifying anti-Christmas creature that like eats children, right? No, not that.
Well, at least it's Nordic appropriate demon. For the time of year.
It's the Canfield Crampons. I like those too. They're really, really light.
Okay.
But the platform is still pretty big, and and here's the thing that I'll say. People think that there's no float on flats, like there would be on, say, like there would be on clipless. Like there's a little float side to side.
Yeah.
I must keep saying I want to say Krampus. The Canfield Crampons have float from side to side a little, and I really like that.
That's cool.
The only downside is you probably have to rebuild them like every 3 to 4 months. They actually recommend rebuilding them.
Why is that?
I think because of the way that spindle is, and it starts to have a lot of play after a while. You're like, okay, it shouldn't be doing this much, right? So I think there's just a little more maintenance involved, but they are really great. I like those too. And then I've been recently riding the PNW.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I ride. That's what I ride. The Loam pedal great. Right now.
The Loam,
I love them.
And the Range. The Loam, they're really, really great too. Both of them are good. I think whichever one's the composite I have on Old Randy, and they're a lot more affordable and still really, really good. Yeah.
So, I haven't tried them yet, but when they came out with the aluminum ones, I was like, oh yes, love them.
Yes,
definitely been a fan so far.
Cool. I've been wanting to try those pedals. I think I might put the aluminium ones.
There it is.
I'm Australian.
Aluminium. I think that's way more fun than the way we say.
Thank you.
Aluminum.
It is. Aluminum. Aluminum.
I think I might put those on my new bike, and I don't know the name of the new bike yet.
You haven't named.
We got to work on it.
Bike yet. That's okay.
Name her when she's built.
Time.
You gotta see it. Yeah, it's gotta be once everything's built and you see, and you'll know.
She's red. I could name her Big Red.
I like Big Red.
You could.
I like Big Red.
We'll see. Once it's all done, it'll be.
It's all right.
It'll be a while.
Or like Ruby. Ruby's a cool Ruby.
Yeah.
Ooh, Ruby's a cool name. I like that.
And it starts with an R.
Oh,
I'm all about that alliteration. You know?
Ruby Revel. Ooh, that sounds good.
Ooh, that's actually really good. I don't even have a name for my current Rascal.
I just call mine the party bike. I don't know. I don't need a name.
That's a good name for a bike.
She's just a party bike.
Name for a bike.
Becca, what do you ride? What bike do you ride?
I ride a Trek Slash, and it was an adventure getting to the point that I did of building. So I'm on aluminium frame.
There you go.
But then I used a bunch of really nice high-end components. So it was an adventure to get to where I am. But yeah, she's my party bike.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. We did a bike check on her bike too. That's up on our website. I did a podcast with Beka. She talks about the process and how she picked all the components and everything.
So fun.
She's a kick-ass rider, but Becca's been, she's been laid up a little bit. You had surgery, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago today. I had ACL reconstruction surgery. So, yeah, it's just pricey pay for mountain biking, I guess.
Taking a break.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
But you're in the off season, so relax and,
There's some good things on deck. I'm hoping to do a dream hardtail build for when I can recover and start pedaling again. But it'll be good. Stand by.
That's awesome. Stand by for a show. Yeah.
So, Jess, we have a question from MTB Alan. And
one of my favorites.
MTB Alan, I have been following for a while. He's actually the first person I subscribed to on YouTube like 3 years ago when I was first looking
really
cool. Mountain biking stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows that. I mean, if he listens to this, he'll know that now. But he knows a lot of the people that down south in Laguna that I know. Yeah. But Alan, by the way, loved your skit you did with him. I literally laughed so hard when I watched. Did you watch that, Beka? Did you watch that skit that she did with him?
Which one? I don't know which skit. I watched
the one where he's asking her for info.
Oh, lower leg service one.
Yes. Okay, now
yes. It was so good. Yeah.
I seriously shared that with all my mountain biking friends. It was hilarious. I had a text going with all these people.
Yeah. So good.
So Alan wants to know, what's the most number of takes you've had to do for a skit? Do you know? Do you count them?
And do you know which skit it was? I know
which reel. I know which one took me the longest. And I think it took me the longest because it was in the beginning days of when I first was starting to edit stuff. But also I was trying to use Instagram's editor. And it's gotten better, but back even 8 months ago, it just sucked. And it was the one where it was the safety dance one. I don't know if you remember the safety dance one.
Yeah.
I do.
And I think had I done it again, if I do it again, I would do it obviously not in that editor. I use a different app. I use an app called Splice, and that's the one I use to edit all my videos pretty much at this point. But I would do it with that instead. And I would just it was just syncing up all the dance moves because I was doing each move, I was putting on a new piece of protective gear. And so I had to be in that same position and then line it up.
Oh boy.
It was a nightmare.
You poor
and
thing.
It took so long. And I'm sure Tony at the time was like, what the hell is she doing in the garage? I was in there for so long doing this. But it was definitely worth it because it turned out well and I enjoyed making it and it was so stupid.
You committed to the bit.
I committed.
There you go.
Was the one that you did on the fan, was that one difficult? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
The tie-dye one?
It was one. I think it was the tie-dye one, but it was where
I was I've never done tie-dye. Yes. That one might be number 2.
Okay, that was going to be my guess because it was I was like, how the hell did she do that? I'm like, I'm thinking of a ceiling fan, and I'm like, was it on a string?
I have PTSD from that one.
I was gonna say, she's having severe PTSD from creating this reel right now.
And I was like gung ho. I was like, this is gonna work out, but I had to figure out the way to time it every time the phone came around this way. But by the way, this fan doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work. the fan, I had to push it. So like, I had to like push it and wait for it to be going a certain speed. And then I would like try to turn at the same angle. It was like, it took that one. Yes, Becca, good call. That definitely is up there.
All right. All right. Well,
safety dance and that one.
The process is appreciated for sure, because the great thing I think about your videos is that they come across as one lighthearted and authentic, in a way that doesn't feel like you're trying to be authentic. I don't know if that makes sense, but I have seen some videos, and it's not that I think it's a negative, but there are some that almost feels like a forced authenticity of like things that maybe preachy, or like things that we should do that we don't, and this and that. But this is just kind of like, it feels so relatable in the sense of just like, man, that's hilarious and that's great, and I'm going to try to remember to do A, B, or C. So whatever the process is, what it is, it's working. It works. It really, really does.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. It's relatable, like Becca was saying, and it's not, and it's gender neutral. It's not just for male writers or female writers. Like I shared one with you the other day. I think it was, my wife was like, "Yeah, this is so you." You tell me to stop and then film me down here and then get me doing it again and then do this. And it's like the same thing, because it doesn't matter if you're a same-sex couple or not. Every couple goes through that same thing, whether you're female or male or however you identify. It's just so funny. So that actually leads me to my next question. Even though this is relatable and you see this on the daily on the trail, how do you come up with this content? Do you, do you know Johnnie? I don't know if you know him. He does MTB Q&A.
Yes. Yeah, that's how
I was on his podcast last week, and he was one of the people that asked the questions like, do you ever sleep? Like, does your brain just constantly think of all this stuff?
I would imagine yours does. Yeah.
Right. And so that was my question to you. Like, it's relatable, but how do you inspiration, man? Like this just is amazing to me, because I'm not creative by any means in this track.
I wouldn't say that. I think you are very creative. I think everyone has their own bit of creativity in them.
When I play the drums, I am creative.
I was going to say, if you're a musician, you are definitely creative.
Exactly. I don't want to hear it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. None of that. How do I come up with ideas? So I think there's a lot of different ways. And I always tell Tony that he would never want to be in my brain for a length of time, because constantly things will, whether it's being with people, friends or him on the trails, and there'll be an experience and I'll be like, and I'll take my phone out, because before I use this app called Trello. That's how that's how I organize all of my ideas. So to have a place to go. And in Trello, if you're familiar with it, you can do the Kanban board type thing. So each idea is its own little card, right? And I can move them around, prioritize them, drag them into different columns. So as I work on them, I drag them, I don't know which way you're seeing me move my hand, but I drag them over
in one direction or another.
Yes, towards the good direction of I'm doing this, and I'll prioritize. So like anytime a little idea pops into my head, and it might not even be fully fleshed out yet. It might just be like a phrase, or I'll hear a song and be like, oh, this song. Sometimes music really helps inspire me. I'll hear a song and be like Safety Dance. I was like, I love this song. I'm gonna make a like I would literally, that's the inspiration for that whole video.
That's great.
Was the song Safety Dance, because it's called Safety Dance. And so sometimes music, sometimes just life experience, and being, like the one I just posted today about people on group rides. I mean, obviously just from being on group rides, I
laughed so hard at that. The audio you paired with that. Oh my God.
It's so good.
It brought it back to my 90s like soul. It was so good.
Yes. And I just think, and it's of course like how cheesy all those intros were,
it was
like they're like doing something and then they smile.
But that's what made it so great, because it's like this persona that you own when you're the one that's always late, or always has a mechanical, or is always whatever, it's like, that's me. All right.
Totally. I find group dynamics to be so interesting. And I think mountain biking is a sport that obviously you could do by yourself, but that sometimes people choose to do it in groups, and then the group dynamics happen because you could only really be one person at a time in a row, and then that's just recipe for interesting things to happen, right? Like
100%.
So there are times where I like to ride solo. There are times I like to just ride with Tony, and times I love to ride my friends in a group or whatever. And so anyways, life experiences, riding with people. And then I get a lot of ideas too, just like through other people and different niches too. Like that particular video, I actually saw a guy, he's like a personal trainer, and he did one for the gym, like people you see at the gym.
Oh,
that's
and I was
funny.
Like, oh yeah. Okay.
People on group rides. Like immediately I was like, I can apply this idea to that framework.
Yeah.
So
here's one you could do, because a few of us are going to go to the Sedona Mountain Bike Festival. I'm trying to convince Beka to go, even though she may not be able to ride. She may be able to come with us.
I still want to go.
So
I'll hobble around.
So Tony was going to be there, and we were talking about like podcasters interviewing podcasters. Like Mark's going to be there. I'm going to be there. He's going to be there. And then I was saying you could do. And this is just, you don't have to. This is just me thinking.
Yes.
The people that attend festivals.
Yeah.
The gun-ho who's either there to demo. The person who's looking for a new bike and just wants to demo everything that's out there to like pick their best bike. Or the person who's there just like me. I just want to meet people. Like I just want to go
people.
Group rides,
mingling. Yeah.
That's me. I need to be social and just be around bikes.
The
just
person
put me in an
who
environment
just wants
around
to
bikes.
The person who just wants to talk to everyone in the booths and be like, "What's up, Specialized? What do you have coming up next year?"
Totally.
Because I went to
there's the product
groupies,
the product groupies, so the ones that only follow the
groupies.
brands, so there's 100% the groupies that think no matter what you ride, it's not what their brand is. So it's like,
right. I love
and that's gotta
they're
be
looking
something
up and down at your bike.
Yep.
I'm writing this down. This is great.
Like, how can you ride that garbage? Like, what?
Yeah, people just like scoff at what you ride. They're just like,
how can you ride that commercial garbage? Right.
They're literally looking up and down at your bike, and they're like, "You ride that here?"
But dude, I hear that so much. I hear that even so much. They're like, "You ride a Trek? That's so commercial," and da 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 da. I'm like, bro, I have fun on it. I don't care. It's actually something that me and I have talked about a lot. It's like it's really, really cool to learn about different people's perspectives of what they like. But oh my God, mansplaining. And I don't mean to put it on men, but it just so happens that when I do get this feedback, it does come from men of why I'm wrong. And I'm like, noted, not noted. Okay.
Noted. There have been a lot of, don't worry, there's been something. And here's what I'll say is
it happens.
I would say my experience in mountain biking as a whole, I've had some really great dudes that were just really good advocates and really great just like really great, like made me feel welcome in all these things. And there obviously the handful of bad experiences, right? Like the mansplainers or the one time this was recently, this was like last year, I was with a few ladies and we were just standing off the side of the bike path talking. And these guys rode by, and I think there's a trail across the street, and it's called Train. And it has like a rocky section, and it has sort of a drop at the bottom. All of these ladies that were there, we've all ridden it, right? But we were just talking. We weren't even going to ride that. We were going somewhere else. We were just talking, and these dudes ride by, and the one dude's like, "Don't be scared, ladies. You could just send it." And we were like,
send it. There it is.
Dude, come on, man.
Yep.
Oh my God. I can't, Jess. I can't.
I know. We were like, cool, man. Like, I think it, like he thought he was trying to be inspirational. He thought he was trying to motivate us.
And that's the problem.
Yep.
I think sometimes, I was listening to this new podcast today. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's Girls on Wheels. It's this lady out of the UK. She's really, really cool. She just started her podcast.
Oh, so cool.
And I've been chatting with her. I was listening to her podcast, and they do discuss a little bit of the mansplaining part of it. And they talk about how it doesn't come from a bad place, but that's the whole issue, right?
Exactly.
They have to say, one of my best friends that I ride with, Kyle, he's amazing. He just got his partner into it. Kathy's really good. She's very athletic. And half the time he's trying to help her with something. And it's so good because you just hear her go, shut up, Kyle. And then she'll ask Kyle. And then she'll ask me and Lauren. And I'm like, I'm not a pro, but this is what I do when I go down. You know, it's out of love. Like, it's not out of anything else. It's totally out of love. But it's the educational part of it of like, okay, dude, I got it. It comes off condescending, even though it's not.
Even though it's not.
Aware of it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
I think that separation too is knowing it comes from a good place. And those of us that have been in the sport, like majority of the men that I've ridden with in my life, they've been amazing. And most of my experiences riding solo or in groups, my experience with men riding out there has been nothing but positive and amazing reflection of the sport. And one of the things that I think, Jess, gives you an advantage of kind of reflecting on all of this as a creator and making this content that is so relatable is, as a woman, and I don't mean to segment it this way, but we observe so much more and we feel so much more because it's like things that we see and things that we feel and things that we relate to are so different than how maybe a man would approach things. And it's not that one is good or bad or the other, but it's like, oh, I've never thought about it that way. It's like, no, we see this and this is the interaction between all of it. So I feel being able to reflect on that is a lot of how women see things and women feel out there out on the trail and experiences that they're able to share. And I don't know, it's a really unique perspective because it's like you see and you feel so much more than maybe a man might not even take as something that happens or an experience that's real or that's possible. So I don't know. It's just, it's something that I've learned a lot about of the difference of how kind of men and women approach the sport.
So
that's a good thing. The way we approach the sport is very different. I have one more question for you here from Jen Cates, who's absolutely awesome. I love Jen.
Jen is the best.
She asked you, when did you know you fell in love with mountain biking?
Oh, that's a cool question.
Well,
that's a good question.
This is good because I think it really, what we were just talking about kind of leads into this, right? So I got into, it was not love at first ride. I
love that.
It was not love at first ride. But I will say, so I didn't do a whole lot of athletics as a kid. I was like mildly athletic. I did ride a bike when I was a kid. Like I just rode, I asked my parents, actually, I asked Santa for a mountain bike, which at the time I had a friend down the street who was the neighbor boy. We were like BFFs, and he got a mountain bike, which I think had knobby tires. It wasn't like a fancy bike, it was just like knobby tires and had gears. And I was like, I want a mountain bike for Christmas. And what showed up was a banana seat, coaster brake, streamer adorned,
basket.
pink bike.
You know what?
Basket. Yes.
Basket.
You know what? I'm going to stop you there for a quick second because my dad was here last week.
Yeah.
And it's the first long time just me and my dad that I've had since I was probably in my teens.
Yeah.
And he's telling me how offended he is at the fact that he bought me a mountain bike when I was 13 or 14. And he was offended that I didn't like it because it was a cruiser that had a basket that was pink. And my brothers got an actual mountain bike.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going,
send it on the banana seat, man. Send it on the banana seat.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what I did,
Beka.
I was ripping around on that thing. Like I lived on a dirt road in the Poconos. So I grew up in the Poconos.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. All right.
And I lived on a dirt road, and I would chase Jason was his name. I would try to chase him on my little bike. And anyway, fast forward, so I guess I forget what year it was. I think 10 years ago, because I've been riding about 10 years.
Sure.
And so my boyfriend at the time, he was a mountain biker, or he's still a mountain biker. He and an avid mountain biker at that. Like he had already been riding since like the 90s. So at that point, he already had a lot of experience on a mountain bike, and he was very good. He is very good, and he is he came from like, he was the kind of person that would ride like a single speed.
Oh God.
Need I say more, right? Like, so yeah, I mean, and here's what I'll say is like, we were, you know, when we were dating, you want to spend time with the person you're dating, you know? So I was like, all right, like, okay, he likes this thing, mountain biking. I used to ride a bike, you know, I know what to do.
I know how to ride
I
bikes.
shift gears.
I can ride bikes.
Figure it out. So he borrowed a hardtail from one of his friends' girlfriends that had a mountain bike, and it was like a trek, or it wasn't a trek, it was a giant I forget what it was, but it was a hardtail. It was 2 sizes too big for me.
Oh God.
And
Probably a Talon.
probably
That's what I started on, was a Talon giant.
I was following him. We didn't even make it to the trail yet. We were just going to the trail on like an ATV path. And I got nervous. I think I was going too fast for, you know, my level at that time. So I didn't know which brake was which. So I grabbed a fistful of front brake.
Oh
and
no.
Went over the bars. I had like dirt and I remember I felt really embarrassed, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I just ate it, you know, like, but got back up, you know, I was definitely hurt, but I was just like, I'll keep going. And trying to learn, especially for him, I think he didn't want to come off as condescending to like tell me what to do. So he just kind of like would just ride, and I would never see him on the trail. Like it was almost like I was trying to figure it out myself. But I think I would get so frustrated. I would finally catch up to him, right? And he wouldn't be out of breath. He'd be on his phone, just like scrolling around.
So relatable.
I would be like,
so relatable.
You know, and I'm like, are we almost done? And then he'd be like, no, we're only like not even halfway. And I remember just feeling so defeated. Anyway, I know it's a lot of, I think people share the same story of like, didn't really love it at first if they got into it because a partner did it or something, you know? But back to Jen's question, I fell in love, and this kind of dovetails too with the Ladies All Ride story, but I met a group of women when I moved to central New York that rode. And I was like, I rode with them. They were like, come to a group ride. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I went, and I was like, this is what mountain biking is like. This is awesome. Like, I was like, this is so fun. Like we stopped and we talked and we, you know, would session a couple things, and everyone would cheer on people on. Like, you can do it. And like, I was like, oh,
that's so awesome.
I like this. So I tell people I got into mountain biking because of a boy, but I fell in love with mountain biking because of women.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
That's so good.
That's so inspiring.
That goes back to
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's inspiring. And it goes back to everything that collectively I hear the theme is amongst women. It's the encouragement that you get. So I was at Rome earlier in November, and that's what it was. Like the theme I kept hearing from women so much. Sorry, that squeakiness is my drum throne. I'm sitting on my drum stool.
Oh, it's okay. Nice.
And so the theme I kept hearing was, if I had that much support every time I'm on a trail, I would just be the most positive rider on the planet.
Totally.
Because the entire time you would stop and it was like, yeah, girl, you got this. Keep going. You got it. It's just,
there's a solidarity to it. There's a solidarity to it, but it's a solidarity that you want every woman to experience. So it's like you want every woman that you encounter to feel that same thing. And that is what I think is how women connect to each other. And just, it's like this relatability, this authenticity, solidarity of it. And that's, it's such a driving force. It's such a great feeling.
And it's not a competition to
not
me.
At all.
I don't know how you guys feel, but it's not a competition. It's like, how can I learn from you? Because I think Emma was the one that told me that. She's like, it's good to ride with other people that are better than you, because that's how
100%.
you become to be a better rider. Like I was always intimidated to ride with women that were better than me, but now it's like, no, bring it on. Like let me learn what you have, you know, so I could do the same thing.
Teach me your ways.
But that's a good thing. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I tell folks all the time, you want to ride with people that push you out of your comfort zone a little bit, but also have a supportive. I think there is something to say about finding people that just you jive with. It's just, you know, like anything, like, you know, friends you meet in other parts of your life, you know, you want to surround yourself with people that lift you up and encourage you, but also like, you know, that you don't feel like you have to perform or prove
you can be
yourself
vulnerable
in any way.
You can be vulnerable, and nothing feels vulnerable. Right. Like eating you know, in front of a bunch of people. That feels vulnerable. So it's like, it's okay to be vulnerable. So
exactly. And to be able to be like, you know what, guys, like, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm just mellow riding today. I don't really feel like doing this or doing that, or, you know, or you know. So I think it's being around people that lift you up. And just like women supporting women. It's very important. And I think
it goes so far.
I see how much the sport has grown. Yeah. It's cool to see, and like what y'all are doing. Like, I think this is great. And I feel like this is something that has been very needed, and more women are getting into mountain biking. I mean, we're still not, you know, it's still not it's not an even playing field, but it's so much, like, I feel like there's been a lot of progress, and I also am very passionate about seeing more people of color on the trail too. And it's, you know, and so I think the more, you know, we can make mountain biking feel more inclusive for other people. And I think the main reason I even make the content I make, like, it's silly, it's fun, it's lighthearted, but the goal of all of it really is to encourage people to not feel as intimidated to try mountain biking, or feel like it's not for them because they don't see themselves in the sport or whatever. And I think trying to bring it back to some of the funny elements of just human experience, right? Yeah. I think that's why, you know, it resonates with a lot of people. So
that's wonderful.
And I mean, I feel like that totally comes across, because
I do too.
Like we were saying earlier, it's not specific to men or women. Your content, it's you know, like sometimes I'll see content of like, happy wife, happy life, or like happy life with this. And
I love when my wife lets me go mountain biking, and I'm like,
I see that a lot.
And for me, that applies because I am gay and I'm married to a woman. So yeah, sure. But like, I'm a happy wife. You know, I'm a very narrow, you know, there's so much more. It's not like that at all. There are women that I know whose husbands are ride, and it's the other way around.
Yes.
You know? It's like, my husband's always upset because I'm riding or I'm doing this, like, you know, and that's one of the things I love about your content. It doesn't matter how you identify. It's everyone can identify with it. You
it's
know,
the experience of what it is to be out there. And I think trying to broaden that experience 100%. To anyone that wants to be on a bike, anyone that wants to be on a bike is the goal for sure. I think that comes across beautifully.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
We've got a couple more questions for you, and I hear Cooper in the background being like, "Mom, what's going on?"
He's just getting into his comfy. He likes to like move the pillows around. He's like a pillow hog. Well, buddy.
Well, you know what? I'm going to out you here, Beka. Beka just got a new puppy, and it's the cutest thing ever.
She's wonderful.
Oh my God, Beka, you tell her.
I got a corgi,
so
I got a corgi. She's wonderful, and I love her. And her name is Little Ripper, and she's great.
Little Ripper?
Little Ripper.
That's awesome.
And when I tell people that, they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "It's a bike thing, right?
It's it's a bike thing.
It's a bike thing."
I love. Yes, I want to see this puppy.
She's wonderful.
She's so cute.
Yes,
she's so
I'll
cute.
Just send a pic.
I will. Yes,
she's so cute.
Nice.
Okay, so we talked about you attending the Sedona Mountain Bike Fest.
Yeah.
Will Tony come as well? Are you guys going to come together?
I hope.
Awesome.
Yes, we will.
So that's one. There's so many festivals. Grit just announced that they're doing their festival in September, which is awesome. But obviously Rome 3 times a year. Ashen and Andy have an amazing party 3 times a year.
Awesome.
Do you have any plans to attend any other festivals? Any of them?
Any other festivals? Well,
because I know, like, even up there, like, Knoxville has one. So
Knoxville has a Rome Fest, and then they have another kind of, I think they have another like
the Women of Oz.
So
Women
here,
of Oz or something.
Yeah, we have something here. It's called the Sunset Summit. It's not a festival though. It's but it likely should be, but it's a little more.
Is that the one
like,
I just saw the post about? Is that the one that I just saw?
I think they did launch or announce this next year's dates, which is really exciting.
I think I just saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll certainly be at that. Sedona Mountain Bike Fest, as we mentioned. I think I would love to go to Outer Bike this year if I can make that work. To come into good old California. That's where Tony is actually from. So it'd be good to kind of
that's the goal.
You
come to California and you don't hit me up, I'm going to be offended. I'm just kidding.
I am going to, you see that drum set behind you? I'm coming right there and I'm going to jam out in your little jam room. So yeah, I'll be there.
I got my guitars, my ukulele. Yes. I got all the things up here.
I'm ready.
We're going to start a band.
Music session.
Just start a band. That's it.
We're going to do a band. We're going to do a little band. Music night. It'll be fun. Let's see, what other festivals? So Bentonville has a bike fest, and I believe they're having it in May this year. They used to have it in June, and let me just tell you, Arkansas is kind of like mid-south-ish, right? It's not necessarily deep south. It's not necessarily Midwest. It's like mid-south.
Okay. It's like its own, yeah.
Okay. It gets hot here. It's like,
and how's the humidity?
Hot. It's humid. It's bad. Like I would rather be outside all winter here than step outside on like a July day. Like it's so thick. Like, and the east.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I know humidity and stuff. Yeah,
it's nothing like that. It's a level like way above that, and it gets sticky hot.
Yeah.
You have to ride almost similar to like Sedona. You have to get up early if you want to ride.
Yeah. And my hair would be like this, like.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you feel very, and like, oh gosh, you just like immediately break out in a sweat when you're there, or when you're here in the summer. But long story short, Bentonville Bike Fest moved their date to May. So it's going to be way more enjoyable. And they picked a new location here in town.
Maybe that's the one I think it's going to be. That's probably the one I saw. Yes, the Bentonville Bike Fest. Okay.
Yes. So that's very exciting, because they bring in like a lot of amazing people, a lot of amazing athletes, and that's really exciting.
That's cool.
So it's always a fun time. Yeah. It's a big deal here in Bentonville. And, gosh, what else? I would love to go to another Rome Fest. I went to one in Sedona back in 2019 and with some friends, and it was just like one of those experiences. You're just like, wow, like it's so special, so amazing. The dance parties,
I can't wait to experience it. Yeah,
all the things.
We're trying to get Beka to come this November.
I'll be there.
We can go.
I'll be there.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I actually am tempted to also do that because I would love to get back. Or go to the one in Knoxville, where it's
nice.
It's definitely not as far. Yeah. Or go to all of them. Yeah. Yeah.
All of the above.
Why not? Why not?
So that's what I got kind of on the horizon in terms of festivals. Okay. So yeah.
And so then what does the future hold for the amazing Jess Hana? Like what's something you've got going on in the next 6 months, let's say?
Yeah.
That you're willing to share.
Oh yeah, no, I'm an open book. I don't really have any secrets. When people ask me questions about like how I grew so quickly on social media and stuff, I'm just like, honestly, I don't know. I really don't know how it happened. I think
because you're awesome.
Because you connect. You've got a message that relates to people. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're awesome.
And
period.
think the more it feels genuine to you, the easier it is. I think there have been things I've done in my life where it feels forced.
Yeah.
And when you have that feeling of it feeling forced, probably it's not the thing you should be doing. I don't know.
I know. Right.
So I think, or it's got to feel natural to you and your personality and, a common thread throughout, my life and in my career when I was a designer is like humor was always something that I had to lean on, humor and creativity. And so, previously I was married to the guy who got me into mountain biking, and when we lived on the road, I was still doing design work remotely. This is pre-COVID, everything, but we were living on the road. And I did this. I needed some kind of outlet, right? Mm-hmm. So I actually started an Instagram account, and this is before Reels and everything, obviously, or TikTok.
Yeah.
I started an account where I was collecting litter, and I'm a designer, illustrator, so I would hand letter like funny phrases on like garbage, essentially.
Oh, and that's like really cool.
It was called Trash Talk Diaries. And I was doing that for a while, and that was really fun. And that was an outlet for me. It still exists. You could look it up. It's called Trash Talk Diaries. I haven't posted to it in a long time, but
that's so cool.
Like, I think that whatever you do, you know, like the common thread for me, creativity, humor. Like I was doing that in a different way a few years ago.
Yeah,
right? I'm just trying to say, like, you find a way to kind of show up in the world in a way that's authentic to you, as long as kind of your common thread of like who you are as a person, right? So I might not be content creating in a year, 2 years from now. Maybe I'll be doing something else. But as long as I have that common thread of like who Jess is at the core, right? So
absolutely,
I think that's the most important thing. So back to your question, Mia, like, what do I want to do, or what do I see in the next 6 months? You know, I would love to break into the YouTube scene. I need to get over my own fears and imposter syndrome around that. I think it's a different platform. It's longer format, it's different. It's going to take, Reels and TikToks, it's like short form, really quick. I make them fairly quickly, as opposed to like the long edits as we talk, or the long cuts, or the things I had to, all those complicated cuts. But sometimes, for the most part, Reels don't take me that long to make, but a YouTube video, like, I think is just so daunting. Like the longer format, the like, I'm going to have all these SD cards with tons of footage and, just like not looking forward to that. So.
I don't think it's that daunting. Okay. I used to do YouTube videos when I would do my drum stuff, and I would do completely different drums. Yeah, I used to redo music, and I would lay drums over stuff, and I would film everything, and I would edit it. And it's not like, just no joke. Like when I see your Reels, I'm like, it must take Homegirl like a whole day to edit the entire day. And then I'm sitting there and you're like, I do that real quick. And I'm like, well, then shit, you're going to be doing the YouTube video even quicker because, and I think it's that we all have that imposter syndrome. Like, I for real have it. I cannot speak to Beka, but I have it.
I 100%
so it's that thing of like, like if you're doing it right, you're so good at doing this stuff that I think once you do your first one, you're not going to feel like,
I just got to rip the Band-Aid.
This is like easy. You got to rip that Band-Aid, girl.
Well, and even what you were just saying is like the goal in 6 months, a year, whatever, is just maintaining that thread of that authentic self. Well, whatever you're going to bridge into, it's still going to have that. So it's going to be a different variation of this or that or whatever. And everything is changing. All the trends are changing. And who knows what the next social media platform is going to be or whatever. Totally. But I think it's going to be the same realm of like, okay, how do I stay true to my authentic self of what matters to me on this platform? And I think you'll nail that for sure.
But also people have short attention spans as it is. So even if you do something that's 5 to 10 minutes long, I mean, who knows? I would watch it, like, because it's hilarious. So.
Short attention spans, man. Short attention spans are the way. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So tell us how we can help you. Tell us how we can help you with that. And, when you get on YouTube, let's just like.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, that's the industry. That's the sport. Women supporting women, So that's the best way, I think, to continue to support the movement.
100%.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely.
100%. So I think I'm going to ask you one final question. I'm not sure if Beka has anything else for you, but I have one more question for you because I know we're getting it's a little late right now. We've been going on for a little while, but I would love to ask you, what advice do you have for beginners? And I realize that's a loaded question because it's like, what advice do you have for beginners with bike or gears or whatever? Say someone's coming to you and they're like, Jess, I want to ride a bike. I don't know what to get. I don't know how to even ride a bike. what advice do you have for someone with that?
Okay.
And again, loaded question. So take your time.
Honestly, I would say if someone's like, hey, what advice? Like, what do I, I think the biggest thing is like, I think when I first started, I cared a lot about like looking silly and like on the bike. Obviously, I don't care if I look silly on camera. I do that all the time. But I think I felt nervous or weird about like doing something wrong on the bike or looking silly or whatever it was. I think I'm trying to remember what it was like to be like when I was a beginner, right? It's I also think at that time in life, I cared way too much about what other people thought.
Yeah.
And
I can agree. I can identify with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those things where it's like if someone was like, Jess, what do you recommend? And it's funny because I have that blog article that I wanted to share about my advice to beginners or like people just starting out. And one of them is like, try not to be afraid to look silly, try things. All right. Like everyone starts somewhere. And I used to be really nervous. Like I'd go to the pump tracks and I'd watch all these like teenage boys, and I'd be like, there's like a 20-something-year-old. And I'd be like, like I just cared too much. Like, oh, if I fall down or I mess up or I get in the way.
That's a good reel.
Yeah, I know, right? Well,
oh man,
I can find plenty of teenage boys doing the pump track here. There's tons of
for real. Getting accepted by the Groms at the pump track was like such an elevating experience for me. Like when I got accepted by all these like children, I was like, oh my god, I have made it.
They actually get stoked when they see people.
No, but they care and they actually will. They're like, you did good on that, or that was really terrible. And it's like, okay, this is good though. This is what I need to hear. Like. They come from such a pure place, but definitely. They do. Definitely.
They really do. I think like we were just talking about before, finding people that you want to, finding people to ride with. I wish I would have found, like, I think I don't know how far into my riding it was until I met the group of women that I talked about. It might've been 2 years, like into my second riding season. And man, I wish I would have done it sooner. I think I didn't really realize there were like groups that existed and stuff. So I think finding women to ride with and it's crazy because here in Northwest Arkansas, we have Women of Oz and we've got 150 women that show up to our monthly group rides.
That's great.
That's so good.
And we have to cap it because we only have so many ride leaders. So
yeah.
I think it's phenomenal, but there's so many areas that still don't have that. So it's like find a Facebook group, find a group of women that, or a beginner group, or, we here kind of rate it by trail. So like a green trail ride that you can join and go. And also just like find a clinic, find a lesson with a coach. I think
100%.
I think just gaining more skill on the bike is going to equate in you having more confidence on the trails.
100%.
Yeah.
And that means you're going to have more fun. If you're feeling more secure and you have more confidence, well, chances are you're going to have more fun and you're going to smile more. So investing in yourself, right? And that it does cost money, but there are a lot of places that'll do like a free fundamentals or.
That's true.
Yes,
and if
there
you
are.
don't have access to that, a lot of, and I obviously if in person isn't accessible to you, it's like there are a lot of YouTube videos. There are also some online skills. Joanna, she does an online skills challenge type thing, where you could actually take video of yourself and then they can give you feedback. That kind of thing is really cool. I think the feedback part is really important because unfortunately we don't have the luxury of having mirrors on the trail or constant drones that follow us around and check our body position. So so I think working with somebody who's a coach, they can easily identify things that you could work on to adjust your body position or whatever it is. Right. Yeah. So I do think that that's a really worthwhile investment. And then in terms of equipment, like nothing wrong with finding something used when you're first getting into it.
Yep. Absolutely.
You do not buying, especially at that stage, investing thousands of dollars into a bike for a sport that you don't know if you're going to really be into yet. like give it time. I mean, but there is also a trade-off. Sometimes the equipment helps you like it more because it's
right.
That's true.
Right. Like there's
That's
a little
true.
bit of a balance.
Yep.
And so, going to a local bike shop and saying, hey, can I demo a bike and borrow one to see like, hey, what's the difference with this versus this? And that's where mountain bike fests are awesome because you get to demo as many different bikes as you want if you get there early enough.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the good things with Rome is that I learned from Ash, they bring in mountain bikes for people who are extra small or small, that women who would otherwise not find bikes to demo. They make sure that their people bring that stuff, which is amazing. But that's amazing advice, Jess. I really like great. That. And
I can 100% identify with that advice, thinking of myself in that position of being a brand new rider. Which was, 10 years ago. So I think that's very succinct and very helpful. I can picture myself learning from that type of feedback for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's definitely one of the things we wanted to do is compile a website that has that information.
We're working on that.
Could go like Beka and I are working on.
Yep.
We're working on putting together like group pages by state or country so that people, if they're new to riding, they can just, because that's exactly what
we were talking about
the Women's MTB Network to be. Yeah. It's just resources so that if someone's like, in Arkansas, they can look up all the coaches or all the groups, or if they're traveling through somewhere else, like here's where they can connect with women for the day. Like that's one of the things we wanted to get out there. That as well as like bike checks, because I think bike checks, one, they're really cool. And it doesn't have to be super techy, because I know some people like, I don't need to know like what engagement is on a hub. I just want to know like if the bike is good to ride.
Does the bike
does the bike work? Like,
do you like it?
We're gonna do some of that, like asking the why. Yeah, asking the why. Hey, why'd you pick this bike? Is it the size? Is it because it was available? Like some of that stuff. So
totally.
You're absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you both for having me and reaching out, and just, I love what you're doing. And so any way I can continue to support y'all too is, anything. Just let me know.
Yeah. Likewise. And like anything we can do to support you.
Yeah. We want to support you on this, on your journey, and whatever that's going to look like, and on your journey.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, it's awesome to see. It's 100% awesome to see. So yeah.
Especially the YouTube journey you're about to launch. We're all about that.
Yes.
Here for it.
We're all about that.
Awesome.
All right, Jess, you have a great night. Thanks, Beka, for joining tonight as well. It's great to have you.
Love being here.
As the co-pilot, as the next one.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that this is going to go out in a few days, and I'll let you all know when this is going to go out. I'm going to put all of Jess's information on the podcast as well as the YouTube. That I'm going to release this on YouTube as well.
Oh, cool.
I guess if people want to watch our goofy faces, they can watch. They can watch it, and we'll have all that information out there too. So have a great night, and we'll talk soon.
Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.